The December 16th, 2024 meeting of the Bay City Commission will come to order. The city clerk will give the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Prince?
Here.
Rivet?
Yes.
Bernie?
Yes.
Brunner?
Here.
Hilliker? Here. Gerard?
Present.
Runberg?
Here.
Clements?
Here.
Morris?
Here.
Mr. Mayor?
I'm here. All right, next order of business is presentations, proclamations, awards, and recognitions. And we have we have two things for tonight. We're going to start with the holiday lighting contest winners. So, Mr. Prince, Commissioner Prince, if you would be so kind as to come take this microphone and start your process.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First up is the residential winner for the first ward, Tony Charles from 3 Brady Court. Thank you both for coming tonight.
Go Diamond.
And then next up for business is Americana Antiques at 912 Water Street.
Yeah, we won't. The next person just wants to come up each time.
Thanks, Madam Clerk. For our second ward, Christmas window display, in my opinion, Kites Flowers. Have a small certificate to help with your electric bill for all those beautiful lights.
Now. In residential, am I going to say it wrong? Richard? Not here? We'll make sure they get it. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas, everybody. I picked the lighting for my lighting contest. The business is Memories by Candlelight, the Pedal Boutique. Are they here? Hi, come on up here. Pedal Boutique? Yeah? Okay, girls. I got you a gift right here. Oh, thank you. Aww. I didn't think I was going to get that as bad as I am. No cold this year. Okay. My winner for 3rd Ward Residential is Dale Streeter. You here? Yay! Oh, I forgot to give you your certificate. Okay, Here you go. They were so beautiful. And here's your present.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And the residential award for the 4th Ward goes to 712 South Jackson, Catherine Riem. If you have not driven by this display, please do so. They do a fantastic job. There's some goodies in there, and here's your certificate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You have a fantastic day. Merry Christmas.
Okay, so this is one of my most favorite things to do as a commissioner, is drive around and look at all the wonderful lights. So I like to do 2 residentials, so I do have 2 winners from the ward. So the first one that I have here is 2491 Bala Drive, which is Gregory Pelston. Was absolutely wonderful, and my daughter gave probably the biggest "oh my gosh" to it. Yep, be careful. There we go. Yep, got it. Merry Christmas. And my second winner is for residents at 1826 South Johnson Street, Austin Felsky. I don't know if you know the history of your house, but there used to be big winners at this house as well. So you guys are definitely fulfilling the big shoes that were left behind. So congratulations.
All right, thank you. I'm going to ask Commissioner-elect DeWitt to come up. He helped my wife and I were out of state rescuing a dog, so he kind of came in and did the contest this year for me. I did go out and get some gift certificates along that Salzburg corridor. We need to support a lot of those businesses along there because of the bridge work, but
yeah, that's going to be a long time. Also, it went around. My name is Alex DeWitt. My parents used to win this fairly often, so they are very upset that they are disqualified for a while. But the residential one this year is the corner of 39th and Taylor, the Enzers. Is anyone here from them? And then for businesses, there's actually one on Salzburg. It's Paul Davis Restoration. They have a nice use of the city lights, or city trees out front, and the trees in the corner of the building stand out really nice when you're driving down there right now.
thanks very much. Perfect. Good job. Thank you.
Good evening and thank you. All right, so for the residential winner, I have Mr. Jeff Doan at 214 South Erie Street. Is Jeff present tonight? All right. I didn't know that they did gifts for you guys, so I know you guys gifts. Hey, Jared.
No, that's fine.
Good job.
I'm the homeowner. This is the brains behind the operation. The next generation of Doan that has great passion for Christmas. It's in his blood.
Thank you both. And I assume you're both here for the business award as well. The Santa House, which is currently open. If you guys have not had a chance to get down there, please do. Thank you both very much. Good job, both of you. Yes, you may have to choose another business next year, else you're going to think I have favorites.
All right, for the 8th Ward, never a doubt. I don't see Dan and Paula. 815 Florida Court, Whether they win or not each year, they are the best. They make my job easy. They're 3 doors away. I just have to look out the front window every year. There's no doubt. So 8:15, you can see it from Euclid. If you haven't seen the Florida Court display, it's worth the drive.
You can also see that one from space.
This year for residential in the 9th Ward, we have 912 Frank Street, the Meldrums. Are you here tonight? Nick Meldrum, are you here? All right, well, they have a great corner lot, and it's fantastic. When I drove by, all I could say was wow when I first saw it. It's lit up really nice. So we'll get that to them. And then for business, they're always in the Christmas spirit every year. 800 Marquette, Fletcher Oil Co. Anything you want to say?
Oh, just glad to light up the 9th Ward. It's a lot of traffic down there, and it gets a little dark in the wintertime, so just a little bit of Christmas happiness. Thank you.
And we appreciate that.
Thank you. For you. All right, so this is my first and only year giving out the grand prize. This is one of the things that I also enjoy doing each year, and I can tell you that going citywide, the competition is much stiffer than it is just in one individual ward. So I have 2 winners, one for business and one for residential, and we are going to start with the residential, and it is the 4th Ward, Catherine Reum, 712 South Jackson. If you are still here, there you are. Thank you. Thank you very much. And our business winner for the grand prize, and both of these are $150 gift certificates to your electric bills, so that should cover a decent chunk of it, is the Santa House. Fantastic work, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
All right. Can we get one more round of applause for all of the winners tonight? Thank you. And I'm not done. So the other presentation we have on tonight's agenda, well, it's not on the agenda, but I'm going to do it. We have Years of Service Awards for each of our commissioners who have served a number of years here. As you may know, several of us, this is our last meeting. One of us, this is our last meeting as a commissioner. So I'd like to call up each of those commissioners and give them some recognition for their service to the city. It's a tough gig, so just want to appreciate their efforts. First one is for Commissioner Rivet for 2 years as city commissioner. Commissioner Rivet. Thanks for everything. Second one is for Commissioner Brunner, who is on his 10th year as a commissioner. Congratulations on 10.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is, he's leaving the commission, but he's not going very far. He's just going up to the front of the room. Commissioner Gerard for 11 years of combined service. I think they're off by a lot.
I think they are off.
And the next one is Commissioner Clements for 10 years of service. Okay, and I have one more special person who is here from the audience, or here in the audience tonight, and she gave a lot to this community, and I have a proclamation that I'm going to read, and then I'll give her her award as well. Whereas on October 1st, 2024, the City of Bay City bid farewell to an exceptional leader who has devoted 33 years as mayor and city commissioner in the City of Bay City. And whereas throughout this remarkable tenure, Kathleen L. Newsham has exemplified commitment to our community, advocating tirelessly for its residents, fostering collaboration, spearheading numerous initiatives that have enriched the lives of Bay City citizens. And whereas Kathleen Newsham has shown unwavering dedication to excellence in the face of personal health challenges, choosing to step down with dignity and respect for the office and the community. And whereas the impact of Newsham's leadership will be felt for years to come as the milestones achieved under her stewardship continue to shape the future of our vibrant city. Whereas the support and trust from the city manager, city staff, commission, and residents have played an integral role in Newsham's journey, reinforcing the spirit of teamwork that defines Bay City. Now therefore, I, Jesse Dockett, Mayor of the City of Bay City, do hereby proclaim Kathleen Newsham as a distinguished honorary citizen of Bay City in recognition for her extraordinary service, leadership, and unwavering commitment to our beloved city. Thank you. I'll meet you here, yeah. We also have some additional things that I think the manager wants to share as well. We have the 27 years of combined service, and we have a letter from Congressman Kildee thanking you for your service, as well as your portrait and your nameplate and a little gift.
Okay, you sit down.
Do you have anything?
Oh, yeah. Have you known me not to say anything? Thank you. I'd like to thank all the commissioners, all the staff, all the mayors that I worked with over the 33 years. I think we accomplished a lot. City managers, I went through a lot of city managers too. But I miss everything. I miss seeing all the people in the audience. I miss the commissioners. I'm surprised I didn't break down crying because I usually do, so I'm doing good, but I brought my Kleenex with me. So good luck to this commission and all the new commissioners who will be coming on in a couple weeks. Justin, you don't look very happy over there, sir. But anyhow, it's been a great run. I worked as hard as I could for the commission and for the city. The city is my home. My kids are all here, my grandkids here. Now I have 2 great grandkids who are living here in Bay City, so that makes me feel even better. But I'm happy that I came tonight. I didn't expect all these gifts. So once again, thanks everyone. And I'll be here, I'll be watching you guys just to make sure that you're all doing good. So thank you all.
You might as well stay right there.
Okay.
We have one more person to recognize as they leave, or to recognize for their work as City Commission. So we'd like to recognize you, Jesse Dockett, for your 8 years of service on the commission.
Thank you. Okay. Next order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Commissioner Hilliker?
Move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Clements?
Second.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission wish to add any item to the agenda? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the agenda.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Rivet,
Yes.
Bernie,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Hilliker,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Rumberg,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
9 yes.
Motion is adopted. Next order of business calls for consent agenda. Do any members of the commission wish to make a change to the consent agenda? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the consent agenda? I'm sorry. Missed a step there. Next order of business calls for public input on the consent agenda. This is the opportunity for citizens to remove any item from the consent agenda to be on the regular agenda. If anyone in the audience wishes to make a change, please come to the microphone, print your name and address, and then state your name and address for the record and the item that you wish to have removed to be on the regular agenda. Also, if you could give us a brief description of what it is so that we all are on the same page. Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Rivet,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Hilliker,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Rumberg,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Prince,
Yes.
8 yes.
Motion is approved. Next order of business is remarks of the mayor and commission. Do any members of the commission have anything that they'd like to say? Commissioner Brunner?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to keep this short. I've been sitting in this chair for 9 years. When I took my first oath in November of 2015, I had no idea what I was getting into, and I feel that I have loved every moment of being a commissioner. There are happy times, there are terrible times, but I feel that I have worked to do the best I can for the residents. I have met some fantastic people over the years, helped with sidewalks, trash removal, parking. The list goes on and on. And I hope that Benjamin Tenney, the gentleman who will be sitting in the seat in January, that he is ready and all set for this. And I wish him nothing but the best. And I would like to thank the city of Bay City for giving me this opportunity and the residents of the 4th Ward for giving me this opportunity to sit in this seat for the 9 years that I've been here. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Are there any others? Commissioner Gerard?
Thank you. I just want to thank all the outgoing commissioners, Mayor Dockett, Commissioner Bruner, Commissioner Clements, for their voice and time. Commissioner Rivet, sorry, didn't mean to miss you, but you know, it isn't an easy job. The decisions that you make here, you do take them serious, and you know, they do have a large impact for our community. So thank you for your service. I'll save some of the other comments for our swearing-in ceremony to the new commissioners, but I look forward to working the next 4 years with new folks and the folks that are currently here. You know, we have a big job to do and big decisions to make. So I look forward to that. I do have a couple questions to the city manager through the chair. I was asked a couple of questions. Do we have a new process on the leaf pickup, on how we pick up our leaves? There was a truck that came through, or it scooped it up, and then we sucked it up. Could you talk about that process, or?
Sure, we don't really have a new process on the book. We're trying some things out. So if you saw that truck out, it was out just kind of doing a demo to see what we're going to do maybe next year.
Thank you. That clears it. I had some questions about that.
It's the same process, but we were just trying something out.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I did ask, and I had some residents contact me about a couple things, and having access to Porta Johns. You said they don't happen in the winter, but we have some out, don't we? Or do we remove them, or what happens with the Porta Johns?
The service, the company that we rent them from, picks them back up.
Okay. I mean, going forward, I mean, I really would like to see, and maybe I'll bring forward a resolution to kind of at least have access to a couple. So, because I don't know where people go eat after hours, right? Some folks can go to restrooms or whatnot, but you know, maybe I'll bring forward a resolution to have that. And then there was a question about picnic benches. I know in Bernie Park, and I know that there was some concerns about destruction. I know they're in other parks, though, so I don't know if we could look at having a picnic bench in Bernie Park and if it gets destroyed, I guess we need to look at another option.
I think you and I had this discussion, that was the reason why they were moved, because every time we put one out, they were getting destroyed.
Okay. So, well, I think, there are in other areas, and so I guess we just need to have that, and that if I need to bring something forward as a resolution, well, I can't. I'll look to the other commissioner. I just think, yeah, there should be access to those things. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Burney, and then I see Commissioner Clements.
Okay, I just have a few questions. I see that now we're talking about the State Theater and that we have retained an attorney. I'd like the question answered. When I asked for the attorney for the bridges, and I was told that we could not afford them, and the people needed to know if the contracts with United Bridge Partners were breached. And I was told, as I'm going to say again, that we could not afford the attorneys. But now, since they found out that there's a possibility that you signed, or the city of Bay City might owe these Clements Construction Company and these other companies, now we can afford an attorney when we needed it for the United Bridges to see if they had breached a contract.
I do not recall ever saying we could not afford an attorney when you asked for one about United Bridge Partners. We got you an illegal opinion that was placed at your desk a couple months ago. So we never said we could not afford an attorney. The difference now is we have a pending lawsuit. We have to have an attorney for a lawsuit.
I think I'll put it in another way. I asked if we could have an attorney return to Chambers to see if we might have grounds for a lawsuit if we had the possibility for a breach of contract with the United Bridge Partners. Now, we have an attorney that you have retained because of the Winona Park in the State Theater problem. Was that more important than the people of Bay City paying tolls that we cannot afford at this time? And now there's going to be another toll bridge, which a lot of people are driving over one bridge, which is the Veterans Bridge, which is getting a lot of stress on it. So I'm going to ask you again, why are you retaining an attorney? Because there is a problem of a lawsuit, because it was on your watch when this problem with Andy Bacigalupo, the State Theater, the Winona Park, and it was on your watch when the United Bridge Partners was sold. Why are we not able to have the attorneys called in? Because when I wrote the resolution, I was voted down. So now I'm asking you, when it comes to you in the Winona Park, when it comes to the people in United Bridges, why weren't we given the chance to find out if they breached this contract so we wouldn't have to pay these tolls?
Okay, so a couple things. One, your resolution failed by a vote of the board. Another similar resolution was brought forward and was voted yes. That resolution was to have an opinion drafted. That opinion was drafted and given to each of us, I think in October. So we have that opinion. It wasn't a money issue. It was the wording of the resolution is why it got voted down. So a similar one got voted in. One second. The second part of it is, it's Mike Bacigalupo, not Andy. The third part of it is, if you are a defendant in a civil case, you need to retain an attorney, or it will cost you a lot more than the cost of hiring that attorney, right? If you go to court without an attorney, that's not a good thing. So in this circumstance, we are a defendant, versus in the other one, we are one side of a contract. So just the circumstances in general are different. So the cost isn't really part of it at all, and we engaged in both services. So I don't see the issue other than your particular resolution was shot down, but it was shot down because it was worded in a way that wasn't possible. And so a similar resolution was brought forward, and that one was voted to pass, and we got the opinion.
Okay, do you know the difference between call a lawyer in here? Were there lawyers that wrote the contract between United Bridges and Bay City? So do you know the difference between call a lawyer in here? You knew the difference to call a lawyer in here for the Winona Park and the State Theater thing. So I'm just saying, is there a discrepancy, and we want a lawyer in here to check out what's going on if there is a legal action that can be taken? I mean, is there a difference between call a lawyer in here, let's see what's going on for the people, instead of, I mean, the Winona Park is an issue that, you know, is not as important than,
Sure. So I didn't do this unilaterally. This was a vote of the board, and the board voted to get a legal opinion on paper. So if the board had voted to get the attorneys in here to present to us, that's something that was an option for the board to do, but the board chose to get a legal opinion in writing. With a defense case, it is important to have that conversation, and if you would rather have that as a paper copy, I'm sure that's something that can be done. If you don't want to hear what they have to say. It's a board action. It's not something that I did. It's not something that Ms. Muscat did. It's the board voted on a resolution.
okay, I have one last thing to say. I'm not trying to put this situation down or anything, but, you know, a lawyer should have been called in for, you know, the people. That's all I have to say, and I am going to say something smart-assy. When you guys are in trouble, when it's about you, it's call a lawyer in. But when it's about the people, you know, you don't give a damn, but we got to pay tolls. So, you know, you need to think about that, Dana.
You do realize
Thank you.
that the funds in the lawsuit would be taxpayer funds, right? It's still about the people. It's taxpayer funds or taxpayer funds.
We didn't do it.
Okay, moving on. Commissioner Clements.
Yes, thank you. Just want to say a couple things as I'm leaving. 9 years, where did it go? Man, 216 meetings, Commissioner Brunner. 216. You know, one of the things that I'm pretty happy with is we, as a commission, we really fought hard for city residents not to have to pay tolls for 5 years. So as, you know, I understand the bridges are controversial, but, you know, we did the best we could for the people. The other thing, and I don't know if this will continue or not once I'm done with the commission, but hopefully my street still gets plowed first, and the utility bills are still at zero, and I won't get pulled over, right? No, it's been quite the journey. I know that there's been battles, ups and downs, and you know, people have put up with me, but the best thing I think through this all is the relationships, and you know, we have a great city staff, and there's a really good group of people coming into the next commission that I feel really confident that the city's in good hands. And I know, you know, from being here for 9 years, I know what our city staff does on a daily basis, and they work hard. And I know the commission appreciates it, and then people don't always feel appreciated, but you are appreciated. So thank you for 9 years, and maybe someday I'll be back.
Thank you. Commissioner Rivett?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to keep doing my business, as it were. Item 1, we received on December 1st a diversity, attraction, and hiring strategy presented to the commission. I found that lacking, so I want to move to re-refer it to staff to improve upon it and develop an implementation strategy. So I can simply make a motion based on our earlier conversation?
I think if there's no objection to it, the manager can just add it to the list, unless you want it to be formal. But if you,
2 weeks ago I asked for travel and got nothing, so maybe we should do a motion.
yeah, she forgot to pass it out, but it is here. So we,
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see it prior to my last meeting.
okay. Do you want to make the formal motion? Okay. It's fine. Is there any objection? We can just, is there a second on that? Somebody want to make a second? Commissioner Prince?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any objection? You have an objection to that?
No, I don't have I have a question.
Sure.
What are we doing right now?
We're adding a motion on to refer the DEI piece back to staff.
Shouldn't that have been added to the agenda?
It can be done informally like this.
I made that request to the mayor, Commissioner.
Yeah, it's
and he said just do it during comments.
Yep, I did.
Okay.
If nobody makes an objection, we can just have it be passed, and that's good. No, it's not. Okay, seeing no objection, it passes. Kind of a weird way of doing that, but it works. Did you have anything else?
I did. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager, street department, I have a resident with concerns over maintenance of her curb. She lives on, I think, the border of Tuscola and Trumbull. Don't we have a maintenance agreement with MDOT to plow and patch streets?
We do, yes.
Then why was she told that minor repairs weren't the obligation of the city, only MDOT?
Do you have a name or an address that we can?
I can pass that along, but that's a simple question.
I don't know unless I look into her address. I don't know. I need her information so we can follow up with.
Then you just an answer to the question would be fantastic. In a circumstance like that, the city is obligated to do minor repairs and maintenance and plow the streets on MDOT thoroughfares that we have maintenance agreements on, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I will make sure Commissioner Coakley gets that information, and just wanted to verify that the city does have an obligation, because she's been told 3 times that only MDOT has the obligation and she needs to call MDOT. So clarifying on the public record is great value. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Runberg?
Yeah, this is a question for the city manager as well. First off, I do appreciate the information you got me regarding the national opioid settlement. Got that early December, so thank you for that. There is some detail in this, but there's not a great detail as far as how this money is being spent. It looks like we got $116,537.24, and the only thing this information in this packet tells me about is the app, which I'm sure is a good app. We're spending $28,500 on. Is it possible to get a presentation on how that money is being spent, just so we can have oversight?
There's only that. That's the only thing we spent it on, and then you see we have a pending one on there. We don't have anything else planned or have spent it on anything else, but we can hit on those 2 items if you'd like something like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just so the commission can have some oversight on it. I'm curious how it's being spent, so I thank you for that.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you. Any others? Commissioner Prince?
Yes.
I had a constituent, when I was out doing the lighting competition, they asked me regarding Brady Court and it being plowed. They have issues with it being plowed out just because it's a smaller court and they can't have a regular plow truck. So my question is, through the mayor to the city manager, do we usually have trucks from Parks and Rec that go and do that?
Yeah, we use our smaller trucks from Parks, yes.
Okay, and they're out there on when they're needed, correct?
Correct. Yeah, they're out there the same time the other plows are out, but they're doing like the alleys, they're doing the courts and those smaller areas that they have to get into.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any others? Seeing none. Not big for a bunch of attention, but I also want to thank staff and residents, fellow commissioners for the last 8 years. Appreciate everything from all of you and everything that you do for the community. And I'd like to thank my wonderful wife for her extreme patience, for putting up with me through all of the phone calls and random happenstance meetings in Home Depot and other various places around town, and long conversations and those things. So she's been wonderful at putting up with all of that. So thank you very much. Next order of business is the manager's report. Does the manager have anything?
We do not.
Next order of business is public input. Under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Commissioner Clements will serve as the timekeeper. This is the opportunity for citizens to address the Commission regarding any agenda item or any other matter. If anyone wishes to address the Commission, please come forward, print your name and address, and then state your name and address for the record.
Alex DeWitt, 1309 South Erie. As I mentioned earlier, this will be my last time on this side of the podium. But I just want to talk about the work that I think has been accomplished on my end, and hopefully can translate into better as an official in the city. Over the past 7 years, I've been coming to these meetings more often than some of the commissioners even. And I've been doing my best to try to increase outside attention into the city doings, and unfortunately I've not been able to work on the county as well, because that was the original goal of this, was to work with city and county, but county times are not ideal for someone who works a standard job. But some things that I've seen improved, I want to start with those, is budget disclosures have improved greatly since I started complaining about them. And yes, I'm okay calling them complaints. Feedback from commissioners has improved, including the person who I lost to in 2019. There have been improvements in that relationship since then, which is great. Some things that I didn't win at, but you know, I can't win them all, was the bridges. I was not in favor of the BCBP agreement, and that's been very well documented here. Not in favor of the Winona Park system that ended up now blowing up in our faces about a year ago, and unfortunately I was right about that one. But the end thing here is that now we're facing issues with the fire department, public safety, and keeping unhoused population safe. And unfortunately, we've not had many community partners, organizations, or other bodies who have been very willing to assist us because of years of either miscommunication, lack of communication, or outright refusal to talk to the city. And I'm hoping that can change as much as it can in a current political climate. And I'm hoping that even if, you know, if there is no leadership from me in the 6th Ward, and I'm just there as a body, that those who can do it will actually make the attempt and show the people of Bake City and Bake County that we are trying. Because the reputation of City Hall is still overwhelmingly negative by people who you just talk to around town. And changing that is difficult, and I'm not expecting to change that as a single person, but just showing that where the communications ends is going to be important, and hopefully it disseminates to the people who do not show up here, unfortunately. So, thank you.
Thank you.
1321 Broadway, Wicked Emporium Studios and Company, Grassroots Movement. Recently moved out of the city, but I'm still here to advocate for the cause. I see that we have a nice little item coming up as a resolution to get a safe haven here in the city. Congratulations. Hopefully y'all will push this through, but in the same time, I'm a little confused. I feel that this deserves a public forum, as well as to have all of our commissioners, as well as the organization that's in charge in the planning. I feel like as if I have been misled, uninvolved, and not included in this resolution. I'm concerned about my fire station and my police department that we couldn't find money for, but you guys found $400,000 to make a safe haven happen, and you're gonna leave them out of it? What's going on with our money, y'all? How can you find money for something that causes you a problem, makes the city look bad so you can shove it under a rug, while you forget about our municipalities, our police department, our fire departments that you're closing down because we have no money? I really feel like, commissioners, this item needs to be taken a long look at. In this commission that are leaving, y'all don't belong on this resolution. It's up for our new commissioners. I'm gonna ask y'all kindly to vote no, and let's reassess this with a public forum, and let's do it properly with a new commission that will be engaged with us as we move forward.
Thank you. Are there any others?
Craig Coakley, 509 North Johnson. Just going to make this really simple. I want to thank you all for your service to the city. It's not an easy job. It's hard to volunteer and do it. Under criticism, duress all the time, just thank you. You don't hear it enough.
Thank you. Are there any others? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to regular agenda. Will the clerk please read the next and final item?
Regular Agenda 1, Commission as a Whole Resolution supporting the Good Samaritan Drop-In Center proposal by utilizing $250,000 of Community Development Block Grant funds and $150,000 of the city's Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act funds. Recommendation approved.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Hilliker?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Brenner?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Runberg?
Yes, I'd like to amend the resolution.
Okay. If you want to read the amendment that you have.
Sure. I dropped this off on everyone's desk if you want to read along with me. But it's, be it further resolved that the City Commission requires regular, semi-annual reporting from the Good Samaritan Drop-In Center to ensure transparency, accountability, and compliance with all operational and funding requirements. These reports shall include, but not limited to, 1, a financial report detailing the use of public funds, 2, an operational performance review including the number of individuals served, services provided, and outcomes achieved, 3, community feedback on the center's impact and accessibility, and be it further resolved that all services provided by the Good Samaritan Drop-In Center shall be free from religious discrimination or requirements. Participation in religious activities or services shall not be mandatory for individuals to receive assistance or access basic needs at the drop-in center, ensuring that the center operates inclusively and equitably for all individuals regardless of their faith or belief system.
Thank you. Is there a second on the amendment? Commissioner Hilliker?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the amendment? Okay. Is there any objection to the item as amended? Okay, so we need to vote on the amendment now. So this is just voting for the amendment, not as amended. Okay, let me rephrase this. Is there an objection on the amendment? Seeing none, is there any discussion? And then after the discussion, we will vote on the item as amended. Commissioner Rivet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My speech was just given public input. Extraordinarily well said, right? This is unfathomable to me. You're asking for $150,000 of marijuana money that was already allocated to streets. We glossed over another commissioner's desire to see a fire station improved. There's no money for that. We have no funding priorities. We have no strategy. But most importantly, as was indicated, this is a community issue. And this is the kind of thing, with solid leadership and management, you bring together the community, social services folks, community folks, you bring the county, you bring all relevant people in our community to put together a strategy to address this situation. What I continue to see, and what's made this 2 years very challenging to me, is we just whip Band-Aids. We don't think about where the money, how the money, there's no strategy. Let's just throw a resolution together. Let's just throw a project out there. Let's just do something to say we did something. For a successful intervention in an issue in a community, you bring the community. You bring everybody together. And so this is half-baked, half-hearted. I appreciate my fellow commissioners' attempt to address it. You made some great points I had not thought of. But what it does say is that this thing is so far away from being a ideal solution to the issue that we face that I'm moving to refer it back to staff.
Okay, there's a motion to refer to staff. Is there objection to Commissioner Hilliker?
I object.
Okay, discussion on the referral back to staff or the item. Commissioner Hilliker?
So there's a lot of assumptions in your statement. One of them being that the community was not involved in this. It absolutely was. Discussions started happening with community, including mental health, including Good Samaritan, including Partnership, which I take a step out of representing them right now, including the city, and including some of the commission as well. Obviously, we all cannot be involved in those because there's legal reasons why we can not all be in the meeting at the same time when we're talking about things. So just because you don't know that it's happening in the community does not mean that it's not, and that the community voices were not come and brought together. In that meeting in October, let me give you a full rundown, and I do believe we presented and talked on it in October meeting here in the commission to give people updates. We did do this. And just because you don't remember it does not mean it did not happen. So in that meeting, several things were discussed, and several things were also presented that were not actual options for us. This is an option that was created by the community with community input, and our piece of the puzzle is to help get it going through those funding. And just because we have two things going on at the same time, and by two things I mean we have the fire situation, the fire station to figure out, does not mean that we ignore an issue when both issues are pressing. So I urge our commission to not be blinded because we have a lot of fires and things to figure out. We do have a solution here on the floor. It's a good one. We have plans for how it's going to be addressed for us in the future. And I need you to consider that because it's getting cold out there and there needs to be a solution. And just because we have multiple issues on hand does not mean that we just get to ignore them, other issues when they come up. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Burney?
When I heard that we were going to give money from the CDBG funding money. Now, they just had their annual, the CDBG, the annual CAPA report. I asked Dana to have Debbie Kiesel come up here and do that annual report. 3 weeks ago, I wrote to you because she was having it for the past 20 years in room 306. And only one person shows up. Now, why are you going to do a public hearing in room 306 about that CDBG money. So I pulled it up on here, and it said that the money was spent on Bernie Street doing the streets. And when we had the printout said we didn't have any more money. It said 0 for the homeless, 0 for the rehabilitation, 0, 0, 0. Now, we're just gonna take it backwards, and Mr. Martini, our accountant, came up, and he said that the marijuana money, the $900,000 I was having a fit about, was going to be spent on Maplewood Park. I asked, why would children swing on $900,000 when we could spend the money on the homeless or spend the money on other things than spending it on $900,000? So what I want to know is, where is this money going to come from? Number two, I would like to see the check and balances, because every time you turn around, we have no money when we ask for these sort of things. But up jumps this money. So what I want to know, first of all, we're supposed to give this money to the homeless for them to have a drop-in. But you write to us and tell us that the Samaritan, Mr. Streeter, cannot show up. So who would not show up to get $250,000? Who would not show up to get this paycheck? I asked for you to say, check and balances. I want to see it. I want to see one of those CEOs, and I want to know why he can't show up to pick that check up, if it's so.
So to address a couple things, Mr. Martini never said that we were using marijuana money for Maplewood Park. That was CDBG money. That wasn't marijuana money. And then
Excuse me, the mayor sitting over there said before he sat down that, talked to Mr. Rivet, I don't forget, and said that, aren't we going to spend $900,000 on the Maplewood Park? And Mr. Dockett mentioned about the $900,000 for Maplewood Park, and I said CDBG money is supposed to be spent for lower to moderate income housing, or for lower to moderate income neighborhoods. And Mr. Dockett at the time, which he was a commissioner, stated that is a lower to moderate income neighborhood because it's in the first ward. And I said, that is not a lower to moderate income neighborhood. And he said it is because Baytown was down there. So if you spent the $900,000, where is that money coming from that you're going to give to the drop-in shelter? I want to see checks and balances. All of this we're going to do, you're doing it before you leave. Everybody is jumping up doing all these things. You're leaving a mess before these other commissioners sit. Stop playing games. Quit faking. Come up with that check. Come up with Mr. Streeter, the CEO of the shelter. I want to see checks and balances. Stop playing games with these people. It's freezing outside.
Okay, and a couple other things. The report that you're referring to online has zeros, but it's the first couple pages. If you look at the entire report, it shows our spending. If you scroll down, I can't really, was page 3 or 4? Yeah, the spending is on there. Another point.
People can't hear you when you start whispering. Tell the truth.
I'm not whispering. I'm saying the report is online and it has every dollar that we spent. It is not all zeros. The $250,000 is coming from CDBG funds. It's coming from various years from 2019 through 2022. CDBG allows us to use that funding for this type of expense. It's there for that to be spent that way. The $150,000 is being proposed to take out of next fiscal year's budget from the marijuana money, not this year. It's staying exactly where the commissioner asked for it to stay for this year. The $150 is for next fiscal year.
Okay, well, we're talking about this year for those people to have shelter. And
That's
another
correct, and that's the
thing,
250,000.
2019, 4 years ago, 2020. Let's talk about, if you want to go back, 2018 through 2023, the CDBG money was spent on the Labadee lofts. And he sat right here and we argued about it. So if you want to talk about placing people in places to live, Labadee Lofts is part of the Samaritan place, the Samaritan shelter. Because I went and talked to Mr. Streeter and he gave me a tour. So there are rooms for people in shelter for them to live because the Labadee Lofts are finished. And there are bedrooms, and there are small kitchenettes, because that place was supposed to be for foster children to foster out. So I've been there with Mr. Streeter, and there are places for people to stay, for homeless. So don't tell me there is not.
Didn't say there wasn't, and all of those lofts are full.
No, they are not. That little building in front have children there. And if Labadee Lofts are full, that means they're full because they're people that are paying rent and they are not homeless. And that is part of the homeless shelter. So if that's so, then that means somebody is owning it and it ain't the state.
I don't even,
Are we a little quiet now? Because we argued about that 2018 all the way to 2022 money, which was the CDBG money
I'm going to
for
hold my
Labadee
thoughts
Lofts.
until the end, but Commissioner Brunner is up next.
Couple quick questions. First of all, if this does get approved, how fast will the money be put into their hands so they can start helping people?
We can do it, give them the funding immediately, but it's going to take time to construct. So we're looking at probably the spring before it's ready, because it needs to be constructed.
So this would not go in, if it went into effect right now, if it was
Right.
voted in tonight, this would not do anything at this very moment for this winter.
That's
Is that
correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
That's
welcome.
actually all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Prince?
Yeah, just to confirm, you just said that if we move on this money tonight, this is not going to be available to help those who are having issues right now until probably next winter or at the earliest late spring.
Correct.
Okay. All right, then I have concerns about doing this now then, instead of just doing it with the new commission later, just because if we have that extra time, I think it should be the new commission voting on it.
And I respect that. I think what he wanted was to get it moving quicker, just so he could start the process, because he knows there's a need for it.
Yeah, I understand that. I just, I think waiting possibly 2 weeks to maybe a month when the new commission can settle on this issue and have it with the broader context of the budget, because we're committing this money annually, would be in the best interest of the city and the commission.
Thank you. Commissioner Rivett, and then I see you, Commissioner Hilliker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The fact that a commissioner does not even know the proposal is what I've been complaining about the whole 2 years I've been here. We are not running this city as a commission. We are getting dragged around like lemmings. There should have been, when you're talking about a $400,000 proposal, when you're talking about shifting money from roads, which is desperately needed, to another service, this commission should have been fully briefed. Ms. Kiesel should have been here to present it. But all that aside, as the commissioner from the First Ward pointed out, this is our last meeting. Doing this tonight is an insult to the incoming commission. I have been extraordinarily disappointed trying to govern on behalf of the citizens I represent with half information. Here, I asked for some information on travel. I get a document at the end of this meeting, so I couldn't ask any questions. There's no numbers. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff missing. We have a culture of hiding information from the very folks who represent the people, and that has to change. Now, you can jam this through with minimal information like I've seen happen for 2 years, or you can change the culture of this commission to begin to actually run the city on behalf of the residents. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Gerard, actually first because he hasn't spoken yet, and then I see you, Commissioner Hilliker.
Thank you so much. I am not opposed to waiting on this. We heard from some residents speak about it. I think it is important, knowing that the funding, because it's CDBG funds, there's more restrictions too, and the timeline it takes to expend those funds. I think it's appropriate to wait to get more feedback. I mean, if it was immediate, we'd have to shift around more funding, and I know it was brought up about, because we have less strings with the funds we get from marijuana dollars, correct? And we have, ARPA dollars that are unspent to this point. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're all committed.
They're committed, but they're not spent.
Yeah, they still have time to spend.
Okay. What is the time frame on that? So almost by the end of next year, okay. So I'm not opposed. I mean, we heard from some speakers. Getting input isn't a bad thing from the community on this. I was at a meeting. There was lots of discussion, and the concern is how the shelter's currently structured. Some folks don't fit in that mix, and that's been the challenge of why. And it's at capacity, but my understanding of this is to address some of those issues. I think the new 7th Ward Commissioner brought up some good points in his resolution to address some of those concerns. I also think having a representative from Good Samaritan would be good to kind of have the commission hear the plans, understand what they feel is the process. I do... knowing that the funding can't actually execute until, 90 days from now, and it won't actually help until after next year, I think it's prudent just to wait myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Liquor?
I'm going to be brass tacks here. You choose to not go with a solution that we have in front of us, then you have chosen to not go with a solution. And that's something that you will have to own. Every delay that you take will prolong what a solution looks like if we get another offer for a solution. Because I was in the room, I'm in the community, and there are no other offers of individuals being able to come in and create a solution. I want to take a step back because the Good Samaritan has been doing this work in our community for a very long time. They know what they're doing. They have wonderful numbers of individuals that they've been able to assist with. And it's a little bit obtuse for us to think that we know better than what they know on how to address an issue. And again, we have not had any other offers for a solution. So you go with no on this, you are choosing not to have a solution or to possibly not have one in the future. I'm throwing it out there as a brass tacks.
Thank you. Commissioner Burney?
Can I crosstalk? It doesn't even matter if I do.
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you. You people are sitting up here like you. Have you ever been there and been homeless? Have you? Have you ever slept on the street? And then you get false dreams. You people wait till the end of the year to say we got all this funding and what we're going to do, and then you say that the check is going to come in how many months?
Tomorrow.
Is that going to help them? It's going to come tomorrow?
We can write the check tomorrow. It takes time to spool up, but theoretically we could write the check
It takes time to school up. I wouldn't, well, you might as well just take this piece of paper and write on it, and the people stand out here and freeze. That's the point of the matter. You have that other Labadee Lofts. I've been in there. They have beds. They have 4 to a room.
People
we own it.
in those beds, Commissioner Burney. They are not paying rent. There are people in need, and they are living in those lofts.
They are not.
no.
They are people in need, but
Yes.
they're not people that live in that building.
No, they
They
live in
don't.
the other building.
We need to
We're
utilize
gonna
them
move on.
right
Commissioner
now.
Hilliker?
Excuse me,
Commissioner
point of order, I'm talking.
I'm taking the
We
floor
can
as the chair. Commissioner Burney, we're done. Commissioner Morris, actually, I apologize.
I'm not opposed to this idea. I would like to refer it back to staff just so the new commission can make the decision on this. I just don't like how it's being done today when it's our last meeting. And if it's possible, I would like to see it referred back to staff until February so the new commission gets settled in first before they see this again. Like I said, I'm not opposed to the idea of this, potentially a little opposed about how it's happening and how it's being presented today at our last meeting.
Okay, so the motion has been made to refer to staff. Is there any objection? Commissioner Hilliker?
Object.
Okay, you had discussion as well.
So to kind of refer back to what you had hit on, I have had family members who are homeless, and there are multiple layers. There's multiple layers of finding a solution to homelessness. This is not going to be the be-all, end-all. This is a piece of the puzzle that we would bring to our community to help solve it, but it's not going to be the whole puzzle. There's other pieces to it. This is a piece of it. This is a part that we can help to assist with. As far as it being our last meeting, sure, but we still have work to do. People still rely on us for this work. And yes, we would all like to wrap this up and go home, but we have work to do.
Commissioner Runberg.
Yes, thank you. So, a couple things. One, I am a member of the incoming commission, so to speak. So I do like to say that just because it's a lame duck session, we should still take advantage of the time that we have. We only meet a couple times a month. We need to make progress on these things. Given the timeline for the delay from the time that the check is written to the time that they can actually be in production being into spring, I'm not opposed to taking the cautious step of allowing this to be more thoroughly investigated, have an actual presentation. I was disappointed to hear that we weren't going to have anyone from the Good Samaritan or Rescue Ministries here present today to talk about this. I did personally meet with Dan Streeter. He did give me the presentation that I imagine he'd give this body, and it is very promising. Speaking as somebody who has been previously unhoused in this city, and I use the term unhoused because Bay City has always been my home, I know what it's like to live on the streets. I know what it's like to experience winter out there. I was fortunate to have the privilege of being who I am to be able to find resources, friends, family support, couch surfing, things like that. But a lot of these folks out there don't have that. But I do want to make sure this gets done right. The question I have is, if we do refer this back to staff, since we didn't actually take a vote on the amendments, will that any of that text be injected into that referral?
Because it passed, it can. There's no objection to the amendment, so yeah, staff would include that.
Okay. I guess that's all I have on this before we go. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I just want to say, this has obviously been going on for a long time. With government funding, you have to find a place to pull from, and you are always and forever robbing Peter to pay Paul. That is the reality of government funding in 2024. So that's what happened here. We took money from, we're trying to take money from CDBG and from the marijuana money for future years and trying to do something good with it. Is it a perfect solution? Absolutely not. I would never claim that. It is a solution that hopefully will help, and it's taking longer. It's going to take longer than I would have hoped it would have. The goal when I set out to do this, because there's originally supposed to be a presentation the first meeting of December, but it fell through, is to get the money out and get the project started as soon as possible, because it is cold today. We wanted to do this earlier, but things happened. It's cold today though, and that was kind of the goal. Now, because of the delayed timeline, I totally understand wanting to refer this back to staff, because it's not going to help this year. So if that's what people want to do, that's what you want to do. But when this started, months ago. It was me and several other people going, look, we have to do something, we have to figure something out, and working on it, and several people working on it, and that's just, sometimes the timelines don't line up the way you want them to be, but here we are. So I totally understand if you guys want to refer back to staff, but I wouldn't be able to sleep with myself if I wasn't trying to do something along the way for the last several months, and maybe it doesn't do everything we want it to do, but that's life. So will the clerk please call the roll on referring back to staff?
Okay, so just to clarify, a yes means you would like to refer it back to staff, and a no means you would not. Commissioner Burney?
Yes.
Brenner?
No.
Hilliker?
No.
Gerard?
Yes.
Rumberg?
No.
Clements?
No.
Morris?
Yes.
Prince?
Yes.
Rivet?
Yes.
5 yes, 4.
Motion is referred back to staff, and we are done. Thank you, everyone, and have a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas.